Welcome everybody to episode 297 of the effing title. I am Big Husky, and as you can see, it's just me today, but we will change that just a little bit. Bang. There he is. The boy's on the screen. The boy's here with us. Unfortunately, DeNutte couldn't be with us this week. So, with that being said, I'm doing a solo podcast today, and I thought, you know what? Let's do something a little bit different. Okay? We're going to be talking about Gears of War. How about that? So, back in around 2020, I do believe, about four or 5 years ago, I'm going to actually look right now while I still talk. I decided, you know what? I want to do a big series. A big beloved series that everybody has played or everyone hasn't played. So 2022, I was wrong on both accounts. And I want to do a big series. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't sure what to do. I'm talking with Big John, one of my best friends. This is around the same time as Halo Infinite came out. And he was like, why don't you do the Halo series? We played through the Halo series. I was like, I already played through the Halo series. I played through the Halo series when I was in high school, into college, and then, I kind of stopped playing the Halo series. So we were trying to think of something else that I could do, and Gears was brought up. And I remember playing Gears when I first, it would have been 06. So this would have been in high school, college range, end of high school, early college years. I remember getting to a point where I shoulder ran into something, and I tried to shoot something. I think I tried to chainsaw something. It didn't really work. I wasn't really digging it. I wasn't really a shooter player at that point. Yeah, I played Halo 3 on and off with some friends, but that was more just because it was Halo. Everybody played Halo at that point. And I remember being like, I'm good. I don't want to play this. Fast forward, obviously, many, many years later, and we have now, as of today, literally, as of maybe 30 minutes before recording this, I have now finished the majority, and by majority I mean there's only like 2 things I haven't done. We've done Gears. Gears is done for the channel. We've played Gears. We've played Gears of War 2. We played Gears of War. We played Gears of War 2. We played Gears of War 3. We played Gears of War Judgment. We did Aftermath. We did Gears of War 4. We did Gears 5. And I just finished Gears 5 Hivebusters tonight. And I'm very excited for Gears of War E-Day. So I thought what else is a better time than to talk through kind of like my journey through Gears. In 2025 of all years, right? Everybody, kind of expected, or not really an expected thing, but my journey through Gears of War. And I'll say this, I was pleasantly surprised. It took a lot of time to get used to the controls, and I will say that. These days, I play Overwatch. These days, I play Apex. These days, I play very little Fortnite, and I've started playing more Marvel Rivals recently. But those are more of the shooters that I play recently. So a cover shooter isn't something I'm used to, right? Even back in the day, I didn't really play shooter games. I didn't play COD. I barely touched Halo. I played it with like 3 of my buddies, Andre and Scotty, rest in peace. And outside of that, though, I didn't play shooters. I wasn't a shooter guy. I was a sports guy. You give me Madden, or give me college football, even college basketball back in the day. That's what we rocked with, and the occasional baseball. So Gears was a completely new thing for me. Cover shooter, completely new thing. I wasn't used to the cover shooter aspect. Even in Gears 5 Hivebusters, 3 years later from the first Gears playing, I still am just running around, not taking cover and not cover firing. So that took a lot of getting used to, kind of that mechanic. Not being able to jump was weird as well sometimes. Dodge rolling, I remember I think it was Judgment. I want to say it was Judgment, but I don't remember. I had a full I crashed out. I'm trying to dodge, I'm trying to do the things, and all I was doing is just switching cover between a doorway and which side of the doorway I was on, and all I was trying to do was just dodge backwards, but it just kept between the two. I lost it during that. The reload being RB always takes some getting used to, but once you remember that that's what you have to do for Gears, it's fine. It's kind of funny how you always find the guns that you like, and I was saying that when I was playing High Busters. To begin with, I was using one of the SMGs. I forgot the name of it now, but I was using an SMG. The DBs drop. And I was like, I know what, I'm going to run the guns I normally don't run. Like, not even 5 seconds later, I'm picking up a Lancer because I just couldn't do it anymore. So it's just it was funny seeing that, like using hammer burst throughout the game, always looking for the long shot, but yeah, so that was kind of that was stuff that needed to get used to. Playing through the series though, I really didn't have too many issues. Now mind you, and I will say this, and I will start with this, I played every single game on the easiest difficulty. Now before I get roasted here, okay, because I know that that's not a thing that a lot of people like to do or like to hear creators doing, or oh my god, how dare you play it on the easiest, blah, 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 right? I was playing through this series for the story. I was playing through the series for the campaign. I'm already not good at shooters. So with that being said, I didn't want to be struggling with the shooter aspect of it to the point where it ruined the story for me. And that was something that I think actually played off really well in the end for me, simply for the fact that playing through the game, I died a lot. Throughout all the games, I died a decent amount. But it allowed me to really focus and join into the game and into the story. And speaking of the story, it is funny because, as I said, Gears of War came out in 2006, and I always remember this. One of my fondest oldest memories. My dad isn't a massive fan of gaming, never has been, and I remember the first trailers for Gears when they first came out. My dad was like, "That looks cool." My dad even was like, "That looks cool." Same thing with when the original Titanfall trailer came out. He was like, "That looks cool." So like, it's funny that all those years ago, my dad was like, "Yeah, this looks cool," and now, so many years, almost 20 years later, right? I'm finishing up what we have of this series now. But yeah, so I played the story on the easiest setting because I wanted to fully dive into the lore, into the story, into the campaign, into what was happening. And for me personally, that was a great thing because, like I said, I died a lot. There was a couple games where I fully just kind of crashed out because of certain moments. And I can only imagine what that must have been like if I would have done that the entire time. There's only three things. There's only three things I didn't play, and I will say that right now. So I didn't play Road to Ruin, which was the DLC for Gears 2. I did not play Ram's Shadow, the DLC for Gears 3. I just looked it up. I found it. It's a potential thing we will go back through and do. And I didn't play Gears Tactics because I don't like those sort of games. So I am a little bit out of certain aspects that could be involved. Like, I'm looking here. I have the page up on my screen, so I do have, some stuff. But like, follows Zeta 6 during the evacuation of Lima. I have no idea who Zeta 6 squad is. No clue. Of course, seeing some of the names, obviously, right? But I have no clue. So, take that out of it. I thought the story was fantastic. The lore in this game and the story is so much more than I originally thought it was going to be. I originally thought that this was just going to kind of be like a very bleh storyline. And it was actually really, really heartfelt on moments, really intense. There's a lot of lore. There's a lot of story. They really thought out a lot of the things in this. And it really tells that this was, a loved thing. When I got done recording Hive Busters, for me personally, this is my opinion, so let me know what you guys think of this, but for me, I thought that for me, after now that I've fully played through this, Gears of War has a better story than Halo. However, I would say Halo is still the better shooter game. Now, I do understand it is a little different first person shooter versus third person cover shooter. Two drastically different games, right? Or game styles. But in my mind, Gears of War easily, and I will say this, easily wipes the floor with Halo story-wise. I think the story for this game is fantastic. There's so many moments, and it was cool for me because throughout my 20s, wow, to say that, throughout my 20s and into my 30s, I didn't really follow along with stuff when it came to gaming. To be genuinely honest with you guys, with how much I upload and how much I do, I didn't pay attention to much of it. So a lot of the main beats and hits in this, I genuinely was experiencing for the first time. And that's one of the things that I really like about my playthrough, is that all of this was a first time experience. I had no clue that it was happening. You know, I'm not going to say different things just in case people haven't played through it, you know, but like there's a certain thing in, I think it's in Gears 2 that happens with Dom and Marcus, and that broke me. There's a part where something happens to Ty in Gears 1 that broke me. The massive thing that happens in Gears 3 broke me. I'm trying to think through. Judgment, I don't think really had anything. 4, I really don't think had anything. Really, the biggest thing was 4 was Unk at the very beginning, the uncle. I called him Unk the entire time. Gears 5 had a big shocker that I will talk about at the very end, because it is a spoiler to an extent, and it's something that I just want to bring up. So, like, the story, though, I thought was very good. I like the fact that, so, in Gears of War, it is 14 days after E-Day, right? And E-Day is Emergence Day. It's when this whole crazy shit happens. So you're kind of already in the thick of things. So you're learning about the backstory of characters as you play the game. Why things have happened. Why characters are treated the way they are. You know, you're learning the backstory. You're learning how these, you know, friendships and, you know, these friendships and these different things have happened. And how they've been taking place, right? And then you get to Judgment, Judgment. I started calling it Judgment after a little bit. I want to make sure that it does each level's recollection, Kilo Squadron, various squads, that, because I want to say that this takes place during the first game, but I feel like I'm wrong with that. Flashback to Kilo Squad early in Emergence Day. Okay, so it's early during Emergence Day. Judgment was kind of a cool thing just to give us some more backstory on Baird and Cole and the Cole train, baby. You know, Paddock and I can't think of the girl's name now. But her and Paddock were, you know, close. So going from 14 years after E-Day to kind of going right a little bit before E-Day, the story is very it follows just a boom, boom, boom. Right here it says Gears 2 takes place 6 months after the first game. So we're still right in the thick of things. Gears 3 is 18 months after the first game. So that's a year and a half after. So we're still the story movement wise is so smooth because it continues on. And those 6 months, those 18 months, they fully fill you in on kind of like, this is what happened. This is what's going on. Here's the stuff that's going on. And it's very early in the dialogue, and it just fills you fully in. So I liked that. After 3, and then playing Judgment, I was wondering where 4 would go, because obviously I didn't play it. I've seen images of stuff, but I've never actually played through it. 4, being set 25 years after Gears 3, I thought was a really cool step for the story myself. Going from playing as Marcus and, you know, Baird and Cole to now playing as JD, Dell, and Kate. I thought it was sick. I thought it was a really cool change, really cool direction. I thoroughly did enjoy the game and playing through the characters. And then Gears 5 being basically almost, it felt like it was almost immediately after. Now, I could be wrong with that. It could be wrong with that. It doesn't actually say on the page that I was just at. They're due shortly after their return to New Fire. Yeah. So, Synapses takes place months after the events. So, it doesn't give us an exact time period, but it just says months after the event. But playing Gears 5, I thoroughly loved Gears 5, and I despised Gears 5 at the same time. Story-wise, I liked it. I really liked where they went with it. Switching the focus from the Phoenix family to Kate, I thought was a really cool and natural. It didn't feel forced at all after the ending of 4. It didn't feel forced at all. It felt very natural on kind of the way that it moved. So, going from the Phoenix family to Kate and all of the history with her family, and then the history with what they were doing, the experiments, hanging out with Dell, I thought was really cool. The thing I despised about 5 was the open world sections. I couldn't stand it. Because for me personally, I'm a scatterbrain player. So like if I see a butterfly or if I see like a little flag waving or a banner, I immediately just kind of go off the hidden path. When I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I did the exact same thing. I still haven't beaten Valhalla. I got to England and I just explored England. That's it. Didn't do the story. Just explored. Because it's a thing I could do. And it didn't force me to do the story. So for me, I didn't like the open world aspect of it. I like the more linear, focus you on the mission, on what we're doing. Here's the path. Go do the path. I'm more of a person who enjoys that sort of a gameplay. So Gears 5 I thought was really cool. Very intrigued to see what happens when we eventually get Gears 6. I will say that. Because Gears 6 I think will be... I don't want to say it's going to be the finale of the series, I feel like. It's definitely the ending of the second trilogy, right? Of kind of the, I don't know if you would call it the JD trilogy or the Kate trilogy or what sort of trilogy you would call the second one. But it's definitely the conclusion of that, right? So I'm intrigued to see where we go because obviously it's shaping up to be very similar to 3 where it's just like we're just gonna go get after it now. That's it. We know where they are. We know what we got to do. We're gonna go get after it. Done. Let's go. Right. So intrigued to see exactly how that goes. And coming up within the next year or two. I'm not sure when it's supposed to come out. We obviously don't have a date for it, but on Wiki it's showing it as 2026. I thought it was coming out in 2025. So I'm not sure when it comes out. Gears of War E-Day release date. It's set for aiming to come out late 2026. Well, set to end a 7-year wait since the release of the franchise's last mainline entry. Well, there you go. I was wrong. I thought it was coming out this year. Whoops. So I'll have a full year in between games. That actually gives me perfect time to do Road to Ruin and Ram Shadow, actually. There we go. But I love the decision to not go with Gears 6 and instead to go with Gears E-Day. Because I remember when Gears 5 came out, there was a lot of backlash at it. I don't remember exactly what the backlash was, but I remember there was a lot of backlash. At least it felt like there was. If you guys remember, or if people listening remember, let me know down in the comments, because like I said, I don't remember it exactly, but I remember hearing a lot of backlash to it. It could have been the fact that it was open world. It could have been the fact that instead of being with the Phoenix family, we were going to Kate. Either way, I thoroughly enjoyed 5. I thought 5 was a cool thing. I liked playing as Kate. I remember the very beginning of the game when we're playing as JD. I'm like, I thought I was supposed to be playing as Kate. Why aren't I playing as Kate? I want to play as Kate. So going back, though, E-Day, I think is a really cool decision because it allows for a new trilogy to start. And it makes me feel like we're going to get Gears 1 through 3, Judgment. Gears 4, 5, 6. Eventually, we're going to get 6, right? But then we can get E-Day, and we could get E-Day, another one, and have the last one end with why Marcus got put in jail. And that's how we arrive at the first Gears of War, right? So there's a lot that can be going on there. And I genuinely just love the idea of going back to the origin. Like, we're going back to day one, like when it first pops off, when everything happens, and just going back to the horror-ish aspect of Gears to kind of, like, this is the beginning. Like, they're not just, easy things to kill anymore. This is our first time ever experiencing them, so they're going to be nightmares to play against. I'm very excited for E-Day. I think it adds a lot to the story, and I think it's going to open up the story a lot. Like I said, it would be cool if they do E-Day and then the following little bit afterwards, leading up to the third part of it, or the third game, and potentially a trilogy there, where, like, at the end of the game, Marcus gets put in jail, which then leads up to the beginning of Gears of War. That's my thing. I really enjoyed it. I like the characters. As it went on, it was interesting and fun to see just how much I was falling in love with characters, caring about characters. Like I said, in Gears 3, there's something that happens, and like I was told in the comment section on a TikTok I did, they were like, "Do you know what happens in 3?" I was like, "Nope." And they're like, I feel for you right now," and it's interesting how much they make you connect with the characters. For a game being about fighting this locust horde, right? The amount of heart and kind of like heartfelt moments, tragic moments, funny moments that they were able to put in there is phenomenal. Like I said, I can't say enough good things about the story, man. It was such an enjoyable experience playing through this, and I'm so glad that I did. Genuinely so glad I did. That's why I want to do a whole episode just kind of by myself about this, because like it was one of those things I always heard about Gears of War, and like one of the big ones I always heard about was the multiplayer. Never played the multiplayer. So if people have played the multiplayer, please tell me stories of you guys playing the multiplayer. Tell me, different things that happened during those days, like some of the crazier stuff that happened, because I would love to know. Apparently there's a comic for Gears. Didn't know that. There was one for Hivebusters. For Hivebusters there's one, and I think there's one that involves Ty as well. I remember someone saying that on a TikTok I posted. Like, yeah, you learn more about Ty in a comic or something like that. So I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit. But yeah, no, it was like, I just think it's been fantastic. Yeah, right here, I just scrolled down a little bit. So there's a bunch of actual books. There's a series of novels on it. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. The details of the events of Marcus's imprisonment in the slab, which takes place prior to the events of Gears. There we go. Ascension bridges the gap between 4 and 5. Bloodlines takes place 4 months, time skip in 5. Oh, okay. Euphoria Rising. The Locust War ends. Humanity that. This is a never seen before event set in the time immediately following the Gears of War. See, that's really cool that there's like, because like I said, I didn't know about it in this. There's books, there's comics. Yeah, as always, there's supposedly been a film or series, or there's eventually going to happen. In Netflix, we've been hearing about that for years now. I would love it. I genuinely would love it. I think that if it's done right, knocked out of the park. Like I said, I was genuinely surprised with Gears, man. I was genuinely surprised. I'm trying to think of, like, instead of just gushing over it, because like I said, there was not really a whole lot of negative experiences that I had. The only real one was that I think it was in Gears 5, there was an audio issue I had. The door issue. But those things are little things, right? When you look at the big picture of it, I've thoroughly enjoyed sitting down and playing a series that is beloved by so many that I had no clue over. Genuinely, I had no clue on what the story was at all. So seeing people that have loved this game, have talked highly of this game, I now get it. I understand. It makes sense. So I'm very intrigued to see what comes with E-Day. I'm very intrigued to comes with what potentially comes with Gears 6, which is something I will talk about in a moment here. Yeah, I wanted to do a quick episode now that I've actually finished High Busters, because I wanted to get that done. About Gears, and like I said, I don't think I can say much more, really. It was just a fantastic time playing through it. Dizzy, Ty, seeing them and immediately being like, that's my dude. Unk in Gears 4. I'm trying to think of his actual name. I've called him Unk since the first time I saw him. Because, they refer to him as Uncle, like Uncle something. And I was just like, oh, you mean Unk? Yeah, I know Unk. In order that, Oscar, her uncle Oscar, Unk. I called him Unk since since the first time we were playing Gears 4. So, certain characters that just make you just fall for them, right? And then certain characters that make you fall out of love with them, which is something, like if you haven't played all of the Gears, go away for like 5 minutes. Go away. The twist with JD in 5 and how much JD changes in 5, I thought was really interesting. Because I went from being like, yeah, okay, I like JD. JD's cool, to I genuinely dislike JD. I genuinely dislike JD at the end of 5, and that brings me to something I want to talk about. And that's why I said if you haven't played 5, go away. I'm interested about Gears 6 for one simple reason. At the end of Gears 5, right, when Queen Reyna, right, is holding up JD and Del, and you have to choose which one to save. How are they going to establish that in Gears 6? Because, for instance, and this is why I said if you haven't played 5, go away, I sacrificed JD. I saved Del. I liked Del. The more you play through 5, the more I liked Del. And the more I wanted Del by my side. So how are they going to kind of do that? Because I know there's people out there that probably saved JD instead of Del, right? And I don't know if there's like a way around it, so like no matter what, you kill one and not the other. Like, but for me, I'm gonna quickly look just to see. That attacks that and that. It's forced to choose either that, leaving that to kill the other. There we go. So, yeah, Mark Stowe's cat, the Reyna will return. Cat becomes determined that they will find her first before discarding her grandmother's necklace. So this is my thing. Is it's like I said, I chose to save Del. So when we play the next game, is Del alive, or is JD alive? Is it going to be one of those things where, similar to what they've done in some of the old Telltale games, where like it reads your save file, so it sees what you did, so that when you do your next game, it now follows the same path, right? I know that's a big one. That was a big one with Walking Dead. In the Walking Dead Telltale games, if you do certain things, those characters stay dead or stay alive depending on what you do throughout your entire playthrough. So would that be the same thing with this? So like if I load up Gears 6 eventually in 5 years, 7 years, however long it's going to take, will Del be by my side, or is it going to be JD? Right? That's my biggest question, and biggest kind of intrigue, is how are they going to do that? Like, how are they going to almost canonize that? Is it going to be one of those things where it's depending on the person? Is it going to be one of those things where they just go, this is the decision we're making? Is it going to be one of those things where they just kill them both off? They go, oh yeah, no, JD died during that event, but then Del died during this event off screen in a comic that, we don't have yet. Like, how are they going to do that? I would love to know what you guys think about that, because that's my biggest question right now, is how are they going to kind of bridge that gap, because that's kind of an important one, right? Because I genuinely think it would be cool. I mean, hell, they could even do like a giant like fan service thing where they go, okay, community, who is truly getting saved in the canon of Gears? Because like I said, I don't know if it's been said or not. In true canon of Gears, who is the one that survives? And I think that's one of the issues why, one of the big reasons why we haven't gone to Gears 6 yet, in my opinion. So, like I said, let me know what you guys think. If you are fans of Gears of War, I'd love to hear your guys' story of Gears or some of your fun favorite moments playing Gears, playing through it. Is there anything that, like I said, I've played Gears of War 2, Gears of War 3, Gears of War 4, Judgment Aftermath, 5, Hivebusters. I have not played Ram's Shadow. I have not played Road to Ruin. Is there anything that I am missing? Is there anything that I should look up? Is there anything that I should read? What is there else that I should do to get into Gears? Because like I said, I've genuinely loved this whole playthrough. The last 3 years of playing this has actually been really fun and really cool, diving into this universe every now and then. I never changed my lights, and I got red lights on now, right? Because it's Gears. It's Gears night, baby. So like I said, let me know in the comments, because I would love to know what the Gears community thinks, to an extent. What's going to be Gears 6? Or is JD going to be live? Is Della going to be live? Like, how do we think this is going to end? Do we think E-Day is just a one-off? Do we think E-Day is the beginning of a new trilogy? I would love to know all these different things, right? Is there anything that I missed? Is there anything I'm not seeing? Let me know down in the comments down below, right? A little bit of a different one today. Just kind of me kind of simping over Gears of War, which has been fantastic. I've genuinely, thoroughly enjoyed playing this. So, thank you all for stopping by, hanging out. Appreciate it as always. Leave a comment down below. And as always, depending on where you are, morning, afternoon, even night, stay out of trouble, stay safe, and we'll talk to y'all later. Okay? Bye. What am I going to do now? Now that I don't have Gears, because this was like the big one that I always look forward to doing eventually every year. Like, there's always that big, because I do it weekly. I do each act a day. Like, act 1 on the first day, act 2 on the second day. And I do that. So what am I going to do now? Like I said, I got those 2 other DLCs, but what am I going to do? I got a whole year. What am I going to do?